Namaste, Jai Shri Ram, Suprabhatam.
Suprabhatam, Guru.
Sarvesham Suprabhatam and Namaskaram to one and all who have joined us today. My name is Kalavati Ashok and it gives me great joy to bring to you this episode of Jnana Nidhi. And it's doubly special as we are going to talk about the New Year and also Raama Navami. This month, the Chaitra Mas or the Chitra Masam, Chittirai Masam is a very auspicious month and it's the beginning of the year, New Year, according to the Hindu calendar. Before I start the program, is there any announcement to be made by anybody here? Sujata Mundra Bagni, is there anybody going to say anything before we start the prayers? No? So at the outset, I would like to thank our Guru Pravina, who guides, goads, and motivates us to take on such endeavors. And also all my fellow participants who have so enthusiastically put this program together. Miss Meena Reddy, who is a pillar of support. We call her more of ever-ready battery, like she's always charged. So she is another great motivator for us. And her tech support, Mr. Kiran, without whom this program is impossible. Thank you, one and all. And let's go on to the first, the prayer song of the morning. Shree Ramachandra Kripalu Bhajamana. Kiran, can we have that?
Shri Ramachandra Kripalu Bhajamana Harana Bhava Bhayadarunam Shri Ramachandra Kripalu Bhajamana Harana Bhava Bhayadarunam Navakanja Lochana Kanja Mukha Kara Kanja Pada Kanjarunam Navakanja Lochana Kanja Mukha Kara Kanja Pada Kanjarunam Shri Ram, Shri Ram Kandarpa Aganita Amita Chabinava Nila Nirada Sundaram Katapita Manava Tadita Ruchi Shuchi Navami Janaka Sutavaram Shri Ramachandra Kripalu Bhajamana Harana Bhava Bhayadarunam Bhajadina Bandhu Dinesha Danava Daitya Vanshani Kandanam Raghunanda Ananda Kanda Koshala Chandra Dasharatha Nandanam Shri Ramachandra Kripalu Bhajamana Harana Bhava Bhayadarunam Siramukuta Kundala Tilaka Charu Udara Anga Vibhushanam Ajanu Bhuja Shara Chapadara Sangrama Jita Karabhushanam Shri Ram, Shri Ram Iti Vadati Tulasi Dasa Shankara Shesha Muni Vanaranjanam Mama Hridaya Kunjani Vasa Kuru Kamani Kalatala Ganjanam Shri Ramachandra Kripalu Bhajamana Harana Bhava Bhayadarunam Navakanja Lochana Kanja Mukha Kara Kanja Pada Kanjarunam Shri Ram, Shri Ram, Shri Ram, Shri Ram
As I mentioned earlier, the Chaitra Mas or the Chittire Masam is the beginning of the year according to the Hindu calendar. The whole of India is in a festive mood. It is springtime and every place is abuzz with activity. It also happens to be the Navaratri time. If it's sowing time in some regions, it is time for harvest in the other. In our very diverse country, there's a common thread which binds us all, that's the festivals. So Tamil New Year is celebrated on the first day of the Tamil calendar, so says Sudha Suresh. So let's hear it from across India about the New Year celebrations.
Namaskaram. I'm Sudha Suresh, a native of Tamil Nadu. In Tamil Nadu, we celebrate Tamil New Year's Day on or around the 14th of April by the Gregorian calendar. It is called Tamil Paksha or Tamil Puttandu in the local language. One of the rituals followed on this day is the reading of the Tamil Panchangam or Almanac, in which each year has a distinctive name indicative of how the year will pan out in terms of prosperity. Incidentally, this year is called Shubhakriti. And the delicious meal cooked on this day has one very lip-smacking dish called the manga pachdi, which is reflective of 6 different tastes: sweet, sour, salty, pungent, bitter, and astringent. Kind of symbolizing life's values. To feed someone manga pachdi on New Year is like wishing them a year full of full living. And while I leave you guessing the ingredients, here's wishing you Iniya Puttandu.
Namaskaram. My name is Sujata Mundra and my native place is Bikaner in Rajasthan. So on the 2nd of April, it was our Hindu New Year, Vikram Samvat 2079. A number of ancient and medieval inscriptions used the Vikram Samvat. Although it was reportedly named after the legendary king Vikramaditya, Samvatsara in short, Samvat is a Sanskrit term for a year. Emperor Vikramaditya of Ujjain started Vikram Samvat in 57 BC. The lunar year begins with the new moon of the month of Chaitra, this day known as Chaitra Sukhladi. Chaitra Navaratri, as we say, is celebrated around season change when summers begin. During this time, our digestive system becomes weak, and so it is advised that we have light meals during this time. The women folk celebrate the festival of Gangor with great zeal and devotion, praying to goddess Parvati or Gauri to bless them with a bountiful spring that's full of harvest and also marital harmony. We as a family do the puja of Ishar, that is Shiv, and Parvati, which is Gauri, and it becomes Gangor. So what is the significance of Gangor festival? Gana signifies Lord Shiva and Gauri is the name of goddess Parvati. So now we know how the mix matching of names was started. The tradition behind the festival is extreme devotion and dedication shown by goddess Gauri to win Lord Shiva's love. Seeing her such affection towards him, Shiva got fascinated and married Gauri. Gavare Gavaradhe Mata Khole ki Vadi, E Bayare Ubi Thare Pujan Vali, E Pujo E Pujaryo Sayo Kya Fal Mongo, E Mongo E Me Anadhan Lachar Lakshmi.
Hello friends, I'm Renu Agarwal. I come from the state of Punjab. Baisakhi is celebrated with lots of joy and enthusiasm in northern India. It marks the beginning of Hindu solar new year. This day is also known as Vaishak Sakranti. It's a very auspicious day to start new projects. The festival also marks the arrival of spring harvest season. After taking holy dips People visit gurdwaras and temples. They take out kirtan processions. They wear ethnic costumes and enjoy good food with family and friends. Lots of fairs are also arranged on Vaisakhi Day, and traditional bhangra and gidda dances, along with the beats of Punjabi dhol, they add to the frolic of the celebrations. There is beauty in the nature all around, and cries of Ai Jetta Vaisakhi echo in the skies. ਉਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਖੇਤਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੱਬ ਵਸਦਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਵਰਗਾਂ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸੋ ਇਸ ਧਰਤੀ ਦੀ ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਪਿਆਰਾ ਹੋਰ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਉਹ ਜੱਟਾ ਆਈ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਉਹ ਜੱਟਾ ਆਈ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ Happy Vaisakhi. Thank you.
Namaste, Swami Mahoday. You seems like you're already in the Vishu mode.
Namaste, Kalabhagini. Yes, you too. Of course, I mean, Vishu is such an important festival, brings back so many memories of my childhood. It's important for anyone who grew up in Kerala. As you know, I grew up in Kerala. So when I think of Vishu, I think of my mom waking us up as children. She'll close her eyes, hold her hand, take us to the puja room. And even before you get to the puja room, you smell the agarbatti and the fruits and everything. Then you open your eyes to this beautiful kani, which is, danam, dhanyam. You see all the fruits, Kerala fruits like jackfruit and mango. Then you have the mirror and there is, Krishna. It's such a beautiful, sight you wake up to.
Yes. And what about the Kainitam?
Of course, I mean, Kainitam is the most important thing. We'll get 1 rupee, you'll fall at mom's feet, get that, and you'll fall at all the elders' feet and get 1 rupee. As
Get money from elders on that day.
On that day, the Kani and the Kainitam is whatever you see on that day, whatever you receive on that day. The belief is you will get more of that through the year. So that's the idea of looking at it. It's also an important day. It's, of course, Krishna is there. It's an important day in Guruvayur. And you're a singer, Kalabhagini. You know that popular song,
Oh, yes.
Vishu.
Yes. Kanikanum neram kamala netrande niramerum manya tugirjati Kanaga kingini vadagal modiram aniyu kanenam bhagavane.
What a beautiful song. What a beautiful song. It's, I think anyone who has lived in Kerala will, know that song. It's such a beautiful song.
Yes. Vishu is all about Kani, Kainitam and Krishna. And of course, Sadhya, very good food.
Yes. So it's
wishing you a very happy Vishu, Swami Mahadoy.
Happy Vishu to you as well, Kalabhagini. Thank you.
Ugadi is also known as Telugu Samvatsaradi. That means a new year begins from that day according to Hindu calendar and is celebrated in the states of Andhra, Telangana and Karnataka. On this auspicious day, people celebrate by decorating their houses and laying muggu in front of their households and wearing new clothes. The speciality on Ugadi is making Ugadi Pachadi. This is made with Shadruchulu. They are sweet, sour, bitter, salt, spice and vagaru. That means in that pachadi, the ingredients which are added are mango, jaggery, salt, chili, tamarind and neem flowers are added and made Ugadi Pachadi and make it as a prasadam and will be tasted. After Ugadi Pachadi, after eating Ugadi Pachadi, the Panchanga Shravana happens. That means the astrologist will come and tell how Rashis are entering into the which places according to astrology. That is how Ugadi is celebrated.
That was Lakshmi at the end. So this month assumes more importance because Ram Navami one of Hindu religion's most auspicious festivals, commemorates the incarnation of Lord Ram, God Vishnu's seventh avatar, also known as Maryada Purushottam. His incarnation, he is born on this earth on this Navami day. So let us now listen to a bhajan in the praise of Maryada Purushottam Ram.
जय जानकी रमण जय जानकी रमण जय विभीषण चरण जय विभीषण चरण जय सरोरुह चरण जय सरोरुह चरण जय दीन करुणा जय दीन करुणा जय जया जय लोक शारण्य जय लोक शारण्य जय भक्त कारुण्य जय भक्त कारुण्य जय दिव्य लावण्य जय दिव्य लावण्य जय जगत् पुण्या जय जगत् पुण्या जय जया सकल लोकावास सकल लोकावास साकेत पुरवास साकेत पुरवास अकलंक निजदास अकलंक निजदास अब्ज मुखनाथा अब्ज मुखनाथा जय जया रूप निंदित मार रूप निंदित मार रुचिर सद्गुण सूर रुचिर सद्गुण सूर भूप दशरथ कुमार भूप दशरथ कुमार भूपार हारा भूपार हारा जय जया पाप संग विधार पाप संग विधार पंक्ति मुख संहार पंक्ति मुख संहार श्रीपते सुकुमार श्रीपते सुकुमार सीता विहारा सीता विहारा जय जया मन्दारमूले मदनाभिरामम् मन्दारमूले मदनाभिरामम् बिम्बादरापूरितवेणुनादम् बिम्बादरापूरितवेणुनादम् गोप गोपी जनमध्य संस्थम् गोप गोपी जनमध्य संस्थम् गोपं भजे गोकुलपूर्णचन्द्रम् गोपं भजे गोकुलपूर्णचन्द्रम् जय जय
Hope you liked that bhajan. What can one say about the Mahima of Ramanama? Innumerable saints like Tyagaraja, Bhadrachala Ramdas, Tulsidas, Kabir have all stressed the importance of Ramanama. Valmiki said in his Ramayana, Ramo Vigrahabana Dharmaha. Rama was the personification of Dharma. In this age of Kali, our only redemption is Ramnam, says Saint Tulsidas. Kabir in his own style says, give up reading scriptures, float them down the river. No need to learn all 52 letters. Ra and Ma will do forever. Ramanama is also called the Taraka Mantra, as it helps us cross the cycles of birth and death. We now have Anu Agarwal, Sujata Mundra, Lakshmi, Aryamba, and recite a few shlokas for us on Rama. Kiran, can we have that recording, please?
श्रीराम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं रामनाम वरानने श्रीराम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं रामनाम वरानने श्रीराम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं रामनाम वरानने। जय श्री राम।
आपदामपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम्।
रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीताय पतये नमः।
इक्ष्वाकुवंशप्रभवो रामो नाम जनैः श्रुतः नियतात्मा महावीर्यो द्युतिमान् धृतिमान् वशी।
The second shloka, Apadamabaha Hattaram, was recited by Sujata Shankar. I made a mistake by saying Sujata Mundra. Apologies for that. I hope you're enjoying your divine journey. You're now going to be transported into a meditative state. Coming up now is a very special composition composed by our own Guru Pravina, who was inspired by the verses of Dr. Vasudeva Sridhar, who composed the first few lines of this beautiful bhajan. He composed a few verses and because he was inspired by a beautiful image of Lord Rama in a Tribhanga mode. We would be sharing that image with you for you to understand that. So Guru Pravina got further inspired by those four verses that Dr. Vasudeva Sridhar wrote. So she went on to compose a beautiful song. We are indeed very privileged and blessed to have this song, rendered by none other than Dr. Vasudeva Sridhar, whose divine voice dripping with devotion is something to, talking about it doesn't do justice. I would allow you to enjoy this beautiful experience. Thank you, Guru Pravina, for providing this recording to us at the last moment, but it's never too late to have this beautiful blessing upon us to enjoy this composition. Thank you.
राम राम आरती भंग धर चारु अति त्रिभंग शर चाप धृत शुभांग जनक जामनोन्तरंग राम 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 आरती भंग धर चारु अति त्रिभंग शर चाप धृत शुभांग जनक जामनोन्तरंग राम हनुमदाप्त भक्त सीताराम अनुज सहित सत्वनित्य दिव्य रूप सर्वलोक स्वामी राम 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 हनुमदाप्त भक्त सीताराम अनुज सहित सत्वनित्य दिव्य रूप सर्वलोक स्वामी राम मातृ सीता मनसि राम मारुत सुत महित राम मानवपति मान्य राम माधव हे मूल राम मातृ सीता मनसि राम मारुत सुत महित राम मानवपति मान्य राम माधव हे मूल राम 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 त्रिलोक पूज राघव त्रिनेत्र भक्त रक्षक त्रिलोक पूज राघव त्रिनेत्र भक्त रक्षक त्रिकाल सर्वनायक त्रिभंग दिव्य विग्रह त्रिकाल सर्वनायक त्रिभंग दिव्य विग्रह राम राम तारकं राम राम पोषकं राम राम तारकं राम राम पोषकं राम राम भोग्यं राम राम जीवनं राम राम भोग्यं राम राम जीवनं राम नाम तारकं राम नाम पोषकं राम नाम भोग्यं राम नाम जीवनं राम राम जय जय 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 राम श्री राम राम श्री राम 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 श्री राम श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 राम
Wasn't that divine? Gave me goosebumps. I would like to here thank Kiran, who has compiled this beautiful slideshow while this bhajan was being sung. It was entirely put up by him. I think he's also becoming a permanent feature of our Jnana Nidhi. Right now, I call upon our Guru Praveena to enthrall us with her talk on Navami.
Jai Shree Rama, Sarvesham Namaskaraha, Suprabhatam. It's been such a divine morning. I feel we are already in the Ramanavami day. It's like Chaitra Masa is there and it's Navami, the birth of Rama. We can really feel all what is happening at this point of time. So it has been such a beautiful experience. So much of efforts gone into this. I could see, starting from the importance of all the different New Years across our country and how everything falls in line. The Bharata Desha has been such a great thing where we celebrate things regionally, but the holistic idea seems to have so much of connection. So that was evolved so beautifully from all your talks, the sloka rendition, everything. It's been really amazing. And Kalabagini, it was beautiful compilation. So much of efforts has gone into this entire explanation. Amazing. And of course, Kiran is like part of us. Thank you so much, Kiran. It's been beautiful. In fact, that song was sent last evening, and I'm so thrilled and surprised to see everything connected to Ramayana being, compiled in that music. Beautiful. Thank you all so much for all your efforts. Of course, it's all Nina ji's, energy, as Kalabagini rightly said. It's a always charged battery, so you can rely. You don't have to charge. You don't have to do anything. It's there for us. So amazing, amazing bhajans. Everything was so beautiful. So before I go on to the actual talk, I would like to say two things, depending based on whatever you all explained here. One is in one of the bhajans that you all sang, you use the word Jaya. Kalabagini was, leading, and it was Jaya, 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 Jaya. That concept was coming up. It is a beauty of Samskrita Bhasha. There are certain rules of when we can use Jaya. And we have the concept of Katapayadi Sankhya, right? Where Katapayadi is the numbering system for consonants which are used. So we have also learned earlier that Sri Rama, 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 Iti, Rame, Rame, Manorame, how that leads to Sahasranamam. So 10 into 10 into 10, is 1,000. So 10 times 10 times 10, it's 1,000. Therefore, it is Sahasranama Tatatulyam. Similarly, the Jaya, when the word Jaya combination is used, it leads to 18. So Jaya stands for 18. And 18 is so significant in our Sanatana Dharma that, the Mahabharata happened for 18, the Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters. The Kurukshetra Yuddha mentioned in Mahabharata happened for 18 days. There are so many beautiful things that comes for 18. And today, it's like such an auspicious day and time that the word Jaya was used, beautifully, like bringing out the significance of Sanatana Dharma. It leads to victory. So the number 18 signifies victory. And the birth of Rama with the word Jaya that is offered in the bhajan was very, very significant to listen to this morning. After mentioning that, there was a word called Taraka, which was used to mention Sri Ramanama. So Taraka is again a very, very beautiful word in Sanskritam, where we classify our needs in this world as three things. So in English, typically we say that, we have the basics, the necessities and the luxuries, right? Similarly, we call it as the Taraka, Poshaka and Bhogya. These are the three different things. Taraka basically means absolute essentials, like the air, the water, the basic things for us to breathe and drink and survive. Poshaka is anything which gives us nutrition. So we need a little more to, have our vitamins and proteins and other things. So it's all nutritive value. Bhogya is all the luxuries. So Taraka, Poshaka, Bhogya, all these three are the different things that we need. And Ramanama, Kalabagini beautifully said, it is a dharaka. It is like a basic thing that we all need. And without that, we can't even survive. Just the two alphabets, Rama, it's like, our breathing. Without that breath, devotees could not even survive. Therefore, it was dharaka. And there are certain devotees who mentioned as, it is not just dharaka, it is also poshaka. We need that, not just for basic survival, But, to have a healthy living, we need the poshaka. It needs to give us energy, health, everything. In addition to that, it is luxury. It's the dessert as well. So you consume Tibare Ramarasa, you drink the Ramarasa, you consume Ramarasa. So it is a luxury also. So it is Taraka, Poshaka, and Bhogya, all three in one, just two alphabets Rama. That's the beauty of this beautiful thing. And incidentally, in the song we just heard, which was rendered by Vasuji, this was a paragraph itself.
Yes.
Ramanama Tarakam, Ramanama Poshakam, Ramanama Bhogyam. So Ramanama Mama Jeevanam, that was also there. So it was such a coincidence because we had not discussed about it earlier, that Kalabhagini brought in the concept of Taraka, and it was also, incorporated in this verse. It was just accidental. So that is the beauty of Ramanama. Two alphabets. How simple can it be? But it can become our Taraka, Poshaka, Bhogya. And the Alvars and Acharyas dwell on Bhagavan's names, Bhagavan's qualities, that, a great Alvar by name Swami Nammalvar says, Unnum Sor, Parugum Neer, Tinnum Vetrilai, Ellam Kannan. The same concept of Taraka, Poshaka, Bhogya. The food that we eat, Unnum Sor, Parugum Neer, the water that we consume, so which is Poshaka. Tinnum Vetrilai, the dessert, they have beetle leaves as a dessert. So all these are Krishna, Krishna, Krishna for him. So everything is the divinity, everything is the divine names of Bhagavan. Without that, people can't survive. Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. The one who sees everything as Vasudeva, he is a Mahatma. It's very rare to see such people, says Krishna. But the one who sees everything as Vasudeva, Mahatma, says Bhagavan Krishna. So the idea is, in everything, we start seeing these two letters, Rama, Rama, Rama. So, okay, we need to drink water. That is Rama, because it is, the basic, the Taraka. We eat food, we eat dessert, and it's good. Nina ji is in restaurant business. So it's like, whatever we see there is all Rama, Rama, Rama for us. So it is Rama, and everything about Rama was done in Savera, right? So again, it is all about Rama for us. So Rama is our Taraka, Poshaka, Bhogya. Now, tomorrow is the day that great Rama, who is everything for us, is taking his avatara here. He is being born. In fact, normal children are born in 10 months. Rama took 12 months to be born, says Valmiki. So in Valmiki Ramayana, he speaks about 6 seasons, actually, before which, they did all this Putra Kameshti Yagam as part of the Ashmaveda Yajna. And only after that, Bhagavan was born after 6 complete seasons. Tatascha Dwadashe Mase, Chaitre Nama Miketitau. So 12 months after the Putra Kameshti Yaga, Bhagavan Sri Rama and all his brothers were born. So Bhagavan Rama was born on Navami, Punarposa Nakshatra, we all know. And subsequent day, Bharata, Lakshmana, Shatrughna, all of them were born, So it is such a beautiful thing that Dashami is also celebrated by us. So it is Rama Navami, Bharata Dashami, Lakshmana Dashami, Shatrughna Dashami. So it is a series of celebrations that we are having. And after the Putra Kameshti Yaga was done, a huge vessel, it's not like a small cutlery which was brought in, a huge golden vessel was brought out of the Agni Kunda. So the Yajna Purusha brings this, and that has the divine payasam, he says. And the Agni Purusha himself looked like a mountain. He was really tall, huge, and he brought this and gave it. And it was shared between the 3 wives of Dashratha. So initially, Kausalya Devi got the 50% of the payasam. And of course, our Rama was born. After that, 1/8 was given to Sumitra. Of the balance, it was divided between Kaikeyi and Sumitra again. That's why Sumitra had twins. Lakshmana and Shatrughna were twins. And, Kaikeyi gave birth to Bharata. And all these 4 are called as Vishnu Rupa itself. It is not like only Rama was Vishnu's avatara. All 4 of them were actually Vishnu Rupa, who were born. And why 4 of them? Because we are in different phases of life. We have to lead our life in different capacities. And Ramayana is like a manual for us to understand and follow. So if we are the leader or the eldest or something, maybe in certain aspects, Rama can be, a direct example. But we also have examples in Bharata. So how did Bharata lead by example? For him, whatever Rama said, he adhered to it. So Rama said, no, you have to go back and rule the kingdom. Bharata said, so be it. Even prior to that, Dasharatha said, hey, Bharata, you please go to your uncle's place. Bharata said, okay. So Bharata basically, though he was, full of power, so much of valor, very knowledgeable, all his characters are mentioned. He was so devoted to Rama that he listened to whatever Rama said. So if we belong to that category, then Bharata is an example. Lakshmana, he loved Rama, but he was not like Bharata. To him, being with Rama was of paramount importance, more than, abiding by his words. So sometimes we will feel like, I want to serve Rama, but if I listen to Rama, I don't think, that's going to make him happy. I want to, just follow him, be with him, serve him. So that is what Lakshmana did. So in spite of being a prince, he could have been in his palace, happily enjoying all the luxuries. He leaves everything behind and goes to the forest with Rama. Uncalled for, he need not have gone. Nobody would have blamed him had he remained in the palace with everybody. He decided to go to the forest. And what happened there? He did not behave like a prince. He rather behaved like a dasa of Rama. He did every kainkariya he could for Rama. He built the ashrams for Rama. He cleared the place for Rama. At any point of time, he was awake to protect Rama and Sita. So he was doing all the kainkaryas. And Maharishi Valmiki has used the phrase Lakshmanaha Lakshmi Sampannaha. After Lakshmana gave up the kingdom and went to the forest with Rama, Valmiki Maharishi says he is a Lakshmi Sampanna. Lakshmi Sampanna should actually mean a person who's enjoying the richness, right? But after giving up, he's become Lakshmi Sampanna because he was directly serving Mata Mahalakshmi and Bhagavan Rama. So he was, got that Kainkarya Seva, the service to Bhagavan and Goddess. He became the Lakshmi Sampanna, says Valmiki Maharishi. So Lakshmana can be taken as our role model for us to serve Bhagavan. He will not leave them even for a second. He was always with them. In one form or the other, he was serving them. And what about Shatrughna? Lakshmana got to serve Rama, but Shatrughna got to serve Bharata. Because Bharata was Ramadasa, right? Bharata was so devoted to Bhagavan Rama. Shatrughna was devoted to the devotee of Rama. So that was the beauty there. So Shatrughna's qualities, are described so beautifully in Ramayana that for him, Bharata was everything. So nothing beyond Bharata. So in fact, only Bharata was invited to his uncle's place. Yudhajit had invited Bharata. Shatrughna just clinged on. Only Rama was asked to go to the forest. Lakshmana clinged on, So it is always like they wanted to serve Bhagavan or Bhagavan's devotees. So they were looked at together. Incidentally, it's actually Lakshmana and Shatrughna who were twins. But we always call it as Bharata Shatrughna, Rama Lakshmana. That was the closeness which is visible from the beautiful relationships. So a lot of these things make Ramayana so practical, so implementable for all of us. And the kind of information it contains, divinity on one side. On the other side, the traits of leadership. How we have to protect anybody who surrenders to us is evident completely in Ramayana, starting from the Balakanta Prathama Sarga itself, where, why did Bhagavan Rama take the birth? So Valmiki Maharishi starts by explaining, the beautiful 16 auspicious qualities of Bhagavan Rama. where he's asking Devarishi Narada, Kaunasmin Sampradam Loke Gunavan, who's the person filled with all auspicious qualities? Viryavan, Dharmagnaha, Kritagnaha, Satyavakyo, Dridhavrataha. So he's explaining all the 16 qualities and asking who has all these traits together in one person, complete in all these traits at this point in this earth, So Devarishi Narada says the only person is Bhagavan Sri Rama. And after that, what happens? Bhagavan's beautiful traits are explained. And Narada says that, these happened, and gives the Sankshepa Rupena Ramayana. Valmiki Maharishi expands on that, and our Ramayana is there. Brahmadeva blesses Valmiki Maharishi, saying that, everything will be evident to you. And if you write something, that will happen to be true. Okay, so Ramayana is actually born. And in this course, what happens is parallelly, Ravana has been troubling everybody, and Dasharatha is doing this Putrakameshti Yaga. Everything, merges together. Like our seasons today, I mean, we discussed about how our new year from different aspects merges together, right? So on the one side, Ravana is torturing everybody. So the Devas, Danavas, everybody are handled by Ravana, which, very, very differently. Now the Devas are seeking the refuge of Bhagavan. The Putrakameshti Yaga is performed by the Rishyasringa Maharishi along with Vasishta and everybody there. Dasharatha is the Karta doing it. Now when the Devas are discussing, Chaturmukha Brahma is there, Bhagavan Vishnu comes, because they all, request him. They become prapannas. They surrender to Bhagavan Vishnu. Vishnu says, don't worry, I will be born and I will, ensure that Ravana and everybody who's troubling devotees will be taken care of. So this happens. Because of the Putra Kameshti Yaga, Bhagavan himself decides to be born there. And of course, we know all 4 children were born. Okay. So that was the first surrender that happens, where the Devas surrender to Bhagavan and Bhagavan blesses them. Subsequently, if we look at the entire Ramayana, so many people keep surrendering to Bhagavan and Bhagavan blesses everybody. All the rishis in the Dandakaranya surrender to Bhagavan, saying that, the Karadushana, they are torturing us. They are not allowing us to do any yajnas or yagas. Please help us. So at that point, what happens is Rama is now in the forest in Dandakaranya. Single-handedly, he fights against 14,000 Rakshasas. So Rama on one side, 14,000 people on the other side. And here Bhagavan Rama has taken a human form. He wants to behave like a human. He's not going to use all his, divinity to be displayed there. So he is using his bow and arrow in such a speed. Surpanaka is watching there because, Surpanaka is the one who went and complained to her relatives, saying that, my nose and my ears are chopped off by Lakshmana. You have to fight, it is a really rude thing they've done to us. So she is now looking at this wall that is happening. Rama on this side is there. Kara is on the other side. The way Surpanaka explains, look at the beauty. She's admiring Rama's valor. She says that I'm not even able to see Rama going to his arrows, taking it and releasing it. It looks like, so fast that nothing is visible. I can just see some circle around him. That's the speed in which Rama was fighting. It's like, suppose our, fan is running at a speed. You can't see the different blades of the fan, right? We just look at it in a circular motion. So she says, I'm not even able to see Rama using the arrow, attaching it to the bow and releasing it. I'm just able to see, glow around him. That is the speed. The circle is only visible. And he destroyed all the 14,000 Asuras at one go. So the so-called Rakshashi, who was wild at Rama for not marrying her, is actually appreciating Bhagavan Rama. So throughout the Ramayana, it will be all about surrender, all about people glorifying Bhagavan Rama for the different traits that he's exhibited. In another occasion, Ravana will actually come to fight Bhagavan Rama. He'll be in the Yuddha Bhumi. And with one of the arrows of Rama, Ravana will actually faint. So as a Saradi, his charioteer will actually take off Ravana from that side to protect him, give him the first aid remedies, and then Ravana will open his eyes and he'll be shocked to see that he's not in the war zone. It's like, why did you bring me outside? Rama looked so beautiful. The way he was fighting with me was so admirable. You should not have brought me inside, says Ravana. Even Ravana was admiring Rama. Vibhishana surrendered to Bhagavan Rama. In spite of being Ravana's younger brother, Vibhishana surrendered to Rama. At that time, Sugriva did not want to accept Vibhishana. Sugriva says, look, he's from the enemy's camp. So we'll have to be strategic. We can't accept enemies inside our thing. Who knows? He might leak all the information to Ravana, right? So Rama says, anybody who surrenders to me, I will accept them. You are saying not to accept Vibhishana, but trust me, even if Ravana himself comes, I will still accept him. So this sloka is actually a very beautiful sloka, which acharyas say that, Bhagavan was willing to accept even Ravana, who was torturing his own wife. So we all don't have to worry. If we surrender to Bhagavan, Bhagavan will definitely accept us in spite of whatever, mistakes we would have done, because nobody could have been as rude as Ravana is. So Bhagavan will definitely, accept us, says acharyas. So Sahrideva Prapannaya, that is the sloka, which is a Sharanagati sloka in Ramayana. So it is a very, very important sloka. So like this, throughout Ramayana, it's surrender, it is praising of the gunas of Bhagavan Rama. There is one very interesting sloka in the entire Ramayana, which is given by Maricha. So Maricha is the one who came in the form of the golden deer, right? So he distracted Mata Sita. So she wanted that beautiful deer, which looks like nothing what we would have seen in our daily life. So when she asked for it, that's when the entire kidnapping of Sita Mata happened, and everything followed there. So before that event, Ravana goes and approaches Maricha. He says, look, Maricha, I want you to, become a beautiful deer, because Maricha could get into the form and shape that he wanted. So distract Sita. I want to kidnap her. Rama and Lakshmana should be called by you. So they come behind you. And at that point of time, I will abduct Sita. And then Maricha says, you have no idea of what you're talking. You know about Rama, he might look like a normal human, but he is not a normal human. He is Bhagavan himself, having taken the avatara. And he actually eulogizes Rama. Who? Maricha. He says, when he was protecting Vishwamitra's ashrama, because we all were disturbing all the yajnas that they were doing, I actually happened to, phase 3 of Rama's bow. So Rama's 3 arrows came very close to me. And because I understood, seeing the way the arrows were actually dispatched, the significance of the arrows, I escaped. The other 2 arrows killed 2 other people. So I know the greatness of Rama. Don't even think of fighting with Rama. Nobody else is capable of doing this. I was thinking it's a 12-year-old kid who's going to fight. And, I was very aggressive. Only then I realized, oh my God, that's not the case. And I saved myself, after which I've been leading a saintly life. Just because I had a glimpse of Ramabana, I have become like a saint now. I can speak philosophy, I can do anything. So you better protect yourself. Don't even get into this kind of an activity where you fight against Rama by abducting his own wife, who is Mata, says Maricha. So this thought process of Maricha, actually the discussion between Maricha and Ravana goes on for like 4 chapters. Maricha's work itself is like 2 chapters, of which his philosophical thoughts are there for a few slokas. And one particular sloka is actually admired by a lot of people. So I would just like to share that particular sloka now, and possibly Neenaji and Sujata Bhagini can repeat after me, and I will explain that sloka after that. In fact, incidentally, this sloka was also quoted by Kala Bhagini today. Maybe she read my mind. Ramo Vigrahavan Dharmaha. Ramo Vigrahavan Dharmaha. Sadhu Satya Parakramaha. Sadhu Satya Parakramaha. Raja Sarvasya Lokasya. Raja Sarvasya Lokasya. Devanam iva Vasavaha. Devanam iva Vasavaha. Ramo Vigrahavan Dharmaha.
Ramo Vigrahavana Dharmaha.
Sadhu Satya Parakramaha.
Sadhu Satya Parakramaha.
Raja Sarvasya Lokasya.
Raja Sarvasya Lokasya.
Devanamiva Vasavaha.
Devanamiva Vasaha.
Jai Sri Rama. So here, the way Maricha, speaks about Rama, imagine the beauty of this. He says, Ramo Vigrahavan Dharmaha. The form of Rama itself is Dharma. There is nothing else that you can think about it. He is himself an embodiment of Dharma. Sadhu, he is the ultimate sadhu. Satya Parakramaha. Truth itself is his Parakrama. His valor is truth. His form is Dharma. Raja Sarvasya Lokasya. Ravana thinks that he is the Raja of, the Sri Lanka, and he is so valorous and things like that. So here Maricha had the courage to tell Ravana that, you might think that you are the king of this particular Bhumi, but, Raja Sarvasya Lokasya. Sarvasya Lokasya Raja Ramaha eva. Not only this loka, all the lokas, he is the Raja. Devanam iva Vasavaha. So he is like the Indra, when you think of Deva, Devendra is there. So he is like that. He is the leader of everybody. So he appreciates Bhagavan Rama in no uncertain terms to Ravana. So Ravana really gets furious when such kind of a praise is, told in front of him, because he is like, nobody will even stand in front of me and raise their voice, because Ravana was controlling even the natural things. The ocean was not permitted to have the waves if Ravana comes. The moon, the sun, everything had to behave the way they had to if Ravana was there. And now this Maricha had the courage to speak against him, appreciate his enemy, and appreciation not just in normal terms, to this extent, so Ravana could not tolerate it. Then Ravana says, look, you better obey my orders. If you obey, then there is a probability that Rama might kill you. Okay. Or you can also escape. Like you escaped the previous time, you can still escape this time. But if you're not going to do this, you will die in my hands right now, right away. I'm going to kill you, says Ravana. And because Maricha now had this mindset of, spiritual, philosophical sort, he decides, okay, if at all I have to die, let me die in the hands of, Bhagavan Sri Rama. Why in the hands of Ravana? And then he decides to change himself into a beautiful golden deer, and rest is, we know. So that was the background behave, Maricha becoming the golden deer, and the kind of upadesas which Maricha did to, Ravana is a project by itself for us to dwell on and enjoy. So this was one particular sloka from the Maricha's Upakyana. So with that, Rama's Sharanagati is beautifully celebrated. So just in order to help us enjoy all his gunas, Bhagavan was born here. Because usually when we say Bhagavan is born, these two words are like an oxymoron, right? Bhagavan means the one who does not have any birth. But then we say Bhagavan and then we say he's born. How does these two actually dwell? It can't go together. So we say Bhagavan is born because of his Ichcha, while all of us are born because of our karma. We are born because we've done good things, bad things, depending on the good and bad, we are born here. But Bhagavan is born here because he wants to be born here to help us out. Krishna in Bhagavad Gita gives the answer to this itself. He says, Ajopi san avyayatma bhutanam ishwaropi san. Ajaha api san. Ajaha, I'm not born, yet I am born. He says. So Bhagavan is not born like all of us, but he takes the avatara. So tomorrow is the great day where Bhagavan Sri Rama came here. He came here just so that he can give us the experiences of what it means to understand his gunas. If he was not born here, we will not know all the beautiful things that he did, right? Every time we read Ramayana, it is like, oh my God, how could he be like this? How could he be like that? How can, just the Surpanaka's explanation, 14,000 asuras were defeated just by Rama, and the speed of Rama is appreciated by the asura. Speed of Rama is appreciated by Ravana. So these kind of anubhavas, we will never be able to get. So Bhagavan is born here. He takes the avatara here so that we can relish him. So let's ensure that we relish all the traits of Bhagavan Rama. So tomorrow is Shree Rama Navami. Traditionally, we make what we call as the Panagam and Neermor. He's very, very simple. So we just dilute a little bit of good, add the spices like ginger and lemon to it, and he takes it as an offering. And we give him buttermilk, he takes it as an offering. So he's really, really simple in spite of having been, Rajaputra. So we can offer whatever we want to him, and he will definitely bless us. And we should remember to offer our salutations to Maharishi Valmiki, who has given us this beautiful Grantha, but for which we would not know the greatness of Bhagavan Sri Rama. So we will recite the sloka of Valmiki Maharishi, the Tanyan. Kujyantam Rama Rameti Madhuram Madhuraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakam Vande Valmiki Kokilam. So that great sage Valmiki, says Rama, 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 sitting in a beautiful branch of a tree. And that Ramanama is actually given us this entire Ramayana. So let's offer our salutations to Maharishi Valmiki, to Bhagavan Rama, to Sita Mata, and to all the other devas who took birth along with Bhagavan Rama, to Sri Anjaneya, for whom Bhagavan Rama felt so indebted that he could not give any gift to him. So he said, hey, Anjaneya, you've done so much for me. How do I give anything to you in return? So inside Bhagavan Rama, all these lokas are there. And Rama gave his hugging to Anjaneya because the entire loka is in me, but I am inside you. So he gave himself to Hanumanji. So that kind of a Rama, that kind of a Anjaneya. So let's offer our salutations. Jai Shri Rama.
Jai Shri Ram. That was so enlightening. As usual, you had us all enthralled, Guru Pravina. It was really beautiful. Thank you so much. Listening to you is amazing. Ramanavami celebrations can never be complete without Sita Kalyanam. So since Lord Rama represents knowledge and Mother Sita personifies devotion, this union symbolizes the secret to the most fulfilling way of life. Thus, through the holy ceremony of Sita Kalyanam, the blessings of the divine couple are invoked for the welfare of the humanity. So, we will present to you Sita Kalyanam now. All Kalyanams are, there is a tarka for every Kalyanam. It is brought about by somebody special. Every marriage happens like that. So, in our Sita Kalyanam, we offer our thanks to Preeti Tyagarajan, who covered the entire tableau for us, and she did it with such beautiful things. She put it together so beautifully and gifted it to us. So thank you, Preeti Tyagarajan, for making Sita Kalyanam happen for us. Can we have Sita Kalyanam now, Kiran?
க்ஷேமங்கள் கூறி விநாயகனை துதித்து சங்கரனையும் கௌரியையும் பணித்து ஸ்ரீராமனையும் ஜானகியையும் பணித்து சீதா கல்யாண வைபோகமே ராம கல்யாண வைபோகமே சீதா கல்யாண வைபோகமே ராம கல்யாண வைபோகமே पावन च स्तुति पात्र पावन चरित्र पावन च स्तुति पात्र पावन चरित्र रवि सोमवर नेत्र रमणीय गात्र सीता कल्याण वैभोगमे राम कल्याण वैभोगमे सर्वलोकाधार समरैकधीरा गर्वमानसदूर घनकाकधीरा सीता कल्याण वैभोगमे राम कल्याण वैभोगमे निगमागम विहार निरुपम शरीरा नगतराग विहार नटलोकाधार सीता कल्याण वैभोगमे राम कल्याण वैभोगमे भक्तजन परिपाल भरित शरजाल भुक्ति मुक्ति दलीला भूदेव पाला भक्तजन परिपाल भरित शरजाल भुक्ति मुक्ति दलीला भूदेव पाला परमेशनुत गीत भवजलदीपोत धरणिकुल संचात त्यागराजनुत सीता कल्याण वैभोगमे राम कल्याण वैभोगमे सीता कल्याण वैभोगमे राम कल्याण वैभोगमे वैभोग
I hope you enjoyed that beautiful divine Kalyanam. We shall conclude today's program with the Arati and Mangalam. Thank you all for joining us. रामचंद्राय जनक राजजा मनोहराय मामका अभिष्टदाय महितमङ्गलम्
रामचन्द्राय जनकराजजा मनोहराय मामका अभीष्टदाय महितमङ्गलम्
कौसले साय मंदहास दास पोषकाय वासवादि विनुत सद्वराद मंगलम्
चारुमेघरूपाय चन्दनादिचर्चिताय हारकटकशोभिताय भूरि मङ्गलम्
ललितरत्नकुन्दलाय तुलसीवनमालिकाय जलज सदृशदेहाय चारुमङ्गलम्
देवकी पुत्राय देवदेवोत्तमाय छापजात गुरुवराय भव्यमङ्गलम्
पुण्डरीकाक्षाय पूर्णचन्द्राननाय अन्धजातवाहनाय अतुलमङ्गलम्
विमलरूपाय विदितवेदान्तवेदाय सुजनचित्तकामिताय शुभदमङ्गलम्
विमलरूपाय विविध वेदान्त वेद्याय सुजनचित्तकामिताय शुभदमङ्गलम्
रामदासाय मृदुलहृदय कमलवासाय स्वामी भद्रगिरिवराय सर्वमङ्गलम् रामदासाय मृदुलहृदय कमलवासाय स्वामी भद्रगिरिवराय सर्वमङ्गलम् स्वामी भद्रगिरिवराय सर्वमङ्गलम्
A big thank you, Dhanyavadaha, to everybody involved in making this program possible. Thank you, Guru Pravina, once again, and all the people present here who have joined us this morning. A very special thanks to the Savira team, the restaurant Malgudi, where we had this Sita Kalyanam made. It was amazing cooperation from everybody there. Thank you, Leena Radima, for everything. Happy Raama Navami.
धन्यवाद.